What if your passion for gaming led you into the world of cybercrime? What if playing video games wasn't just about beating high scores, but hacking into the companies that made them? A group of teenagers, obsessed with Xbox and the online gaming world, did just that. They weren't professionals, but their skills in hacking would eventually place them at the center of a series of events that changed their lives forever. This is the shocking story of the Xbox Underground. A group of kids who went from tweaking game consoles to hacking some of the biggest tech companies in the world. Before we dive into the details, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the world's craziest stories. The birth of a hacker. David Pakur's beginnings. At just 22 years old, David Pakur was already known in the online gaming and hacking communities. Long before he got involved in Xbox Underground, David was a prodigy. Even in elementary school, he had a deep fascination with computers and technology. While other kids were playing games, David was learning to create his own programs. He taught himself how to code, and his curiosity led him to a new obsession, the original Xbox, which was released in 2001. The Xbox was more than just a gaming console to David. It was a technological playground. He quickly became part of an online community of like-minded individuals who were passionate about exploring the inner workings of the console. These communities weren't about making money, but about pushing the boundaries of what was possible. David began by writing programs that allowed him to tweak game settings in Halo and Call of Duty. He gained respect for his talents and earned his place in the community. The Xbox Underground, from enthusiasts to hackers. By 2005, when the Xbox 360 was released, the game had changed, literally and figuratively. Microsoft had learned from the security flaws of the original Xbox and fortified their new console. Hacking the Xbox 360 was no easy task, but David and his friends were determined to crack it. They realized that to hack the new Xbox, they needed development kits, dev kits, which were special consoles reserved for game developers. These kits allowed access to features that regular users didn't have. It wasn't long before dev kits started appearing online, sold by shady sellers who had recovered them from recycling centers. David was quick to grab a few, and soon he had access to the developer-only platform known as PartnerNet. PartnerNet was a gold mine. It was where Xbox developers uploaded early builds of their games for testing, long before they were released to the public. For a gamer like David, this was the ultimate score. He posted screenshots of unreleased games in online forums, making a name for himself as a tech wizard. But David wasn't alone in his journey. The founding members, David, Justin, and Dylan. Around this time, David connected with other talented hackers online. Justin May, known as MTW in the community, was one of his closest collaborators. They had met through online forums and quickly became friends, bonding over their mutual love for gaming and tech. Another member, Dylan Wheeler, known as Superday E, was a young Australian hacker who had been suspended from school for breaking into its network, twice. Dylan was thrilled by the rush that hacking gave him, and he was eager to join David's efforts to crack the Xbox 360. Together, this group of teens would go on to form the core of the Xbox Underground. What started as a small group of curious hackers soon evolved into something much bigger. By 2010, they weren't just hacking consoles anymore. They were breaking into the networks of major corporations like Microsoft, Activision, and even the US military. For them, it wasn't just about the thrill anymore, it was about seeing how far they could go. The rise of the Xbox Underground. In 2009, David found a way to exploit the newly released Call of Duty game. He set up a server where players could pay $100 for 30 minutes of game time with cheats enabled. Players could walk through walls, shoot without missing, and dominate their opponents. The business quickly became a huge success, and David was making up to $8,000 a day. With this money, he treated his girlfriend to fancy dinners and luxurious vacations, all while his grades at school slipped. Despite the success of his cheat business, David wasn't satisfied. PartnerNet had given him access to test versions of unreleased games, but he and his group wanted more. They wanted to break into the very companies making these games. In 2010, Dylan Wheeler got his hands on the login credentials of an IT employee at Epic Games, the company behind Unreal Tournament and Gears of War. With access to the company's network, the group discovered an early build of Gears of War 3. They couldn't believe their luck. They were now in possession of one of the most anticipated games of the year, months before its release. Hacking beyond gaming, the big leagues. As the group continued to hack deeper into the networks of tech giants, their ambitions grew. They broke into the servers of Microsoft, EA, Valve, Blizzard, and Activision, stealing game data, source codes, and login credentials. At some point, their hacking spree led them to something far more dangerous than video games. In 2012, they accidentally stumbled upon a U.S. military server while poking around the servers of Zombie Studios, a developer working on a flight simulator commissioned by the Department of Defense. This was a turning point. They were no longer just kids hacking for fun or profit. They were breaching government systems. The group knew they were in dangerous territory, but they couldn't stop. By this time, they had been hacking for nearly 2 years, and they had become addicted to the adrenaline rush of it all. The Xbox Underground was now a force to be reckoned with, and they joked about their growing notoriety, calling themselves the Xbox Underground, as if they were some kind of underground hacking syndicate. The FBI closing in. Unbeknownst to them, the FBI had been watching their every move. Their activities had drawn the attention of law enforcement, and the FBI had started building a case against them. In 2011, when Gears of War 3 leaked online, it raised red flags at Epic Games. The company reported the leak to the authorities, and from there, the investigation snowballed. The FBI tracked the group's online activities, collecting chat logs, emails, and even audio recordings of their conversations. One by one, the members of the Xbox Underground were arrested. David was caught at the U.S. border while trying to retrieve a car bumper, which led to his arrest. Dylan Wheeler was arrested by Australian authorities after making the foolish decision to give interviews about his hacking exploits. Sonad Nwat, another core member of the group, was also taken down. The arrests came quickly, and the group's hacking spree came to an abrupt halt. The trials and aftermath. Facing charges of identity theft, fraud, and conspiracy to steal millions of dollars in intellectual property, the members of the Xbox Underground were forced to confront the consequences of their actions. David, who had been one of the most active hackers, was sentenced to 18 months in prison. After his release, he worked with law enforcement, helping them understand how he had bypassed the security systems of billion-dollar corporations. Eventually, he transitioned into a career in cybersecurity, using his skills for good. Dylan's story took a darker turn. He pled not guilty and spent years fighting his charges in court. He eventually fled to the Czech Republic, avoiding extradition to the U.S., and established a cybersecurity firm in the U.K. However, in 2020, Dylan shut down his company and disappeared from public life. Other members of the group also struggled to rebuild their lives. Sonad served 18 months in prison and later dealt with a probation officer who banned him from using a computer, leading him into depression and drug addiction. Tragically, Nathan LaRue, who later transitioned to Holly, took their own life after serving a 2-year sentence. The Xbox Underground started as a group of kids who loved gaming, but their passion for hacking took them down a path that led to serious consequences. They hacked some of the biggest companies in the world, but in the end, their actions caught up with them. The story of the Xbox Underground serves as a reminder that no matter how skilled or passionate you are, breaking the law will eventually catch up with you. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the story of the Xbox Underground. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for more content like this. We've got plenty of incredible stories coming your way, so stay tuned.